welcome back. Happy New Year. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a good day. We're here, World Tour Flight 304. I can't believe it, we're on Flight 304 of this thing, and we're almost done. Next few flights, we're flying to places we've already been on the World Tour, just to set up to get to other places. But today, Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan? Why can't I say it now? I'm looking at it and I can't say it. Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan, to Kuwait City, Kuwait. We're in the Airbus A320 Neo from FlyByWire, Jazeera Airlines, flight 656. Early here, I think I have it set to. Let me see what I have the time set to. Okay, so it's an hour ahead of my clock, but it's not live at all. So this isn't live time. I believe in Bishkek right now it's 6, almost 7 o'clock. Might be 6:30. I might be on like one of those half-hour time zones. So anyway, let's get inside the plane. Long flight. We're probably going to be using some time acceleration. We can't really use. I think you can. I don't know if it's maxed out still for this plane. I know last time we were able to get up to 4 times speed, but it doesn't work great with this one.
Hello.
Hi Captain, just to let you know that we're not able to find out what's going on from the terminal staff unless the jetway gets attached.
Okay, no worries. I'll give ground a call and get one attached. Give me a second.
Let's see if we can get a
Thanks
jetway
very
here.
much.
Yeah, I don't know what is going on with GSX lately. Like it'll work on arrival at an airport, and then it won't work trying to depart from that same airport. So I feel like we didn't have any issues with this. Maybe we did, I don't know. It's kind of getting I'm kind of getting to a point where it's like it's just kind of an extra headache, a waste of time dealing with GSX and dealing with some of these third-party things where it's like they just can't seem to get their heads out of their butt. You know, this is because there's so much, like every airport there's something, whether it's there we go. Yeah, it doesn't want to work. Good morning, Misha. Yeah, we'll restart that. Okay, so that's not going to work, so we'll turn off GSX.
Ground to cockpit. Go ahead. Hi, Captain. Just a quick update to let you know that we've started loading. We'll contact you.
We're going to let
once
self-loading
we're done.
cargo kind of just take care of its thing like
Roger.
it does. Because GSX doesn't want to work. It seems to be happening more and more often with as I go through these airports. Okay, how do I get to the top? There we go. Okay, battery switch is on. Internal power.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, so I've spoken to security and they've started checking in, but there's around another 10 minutes to go before we expect to be seeing any passengers.
Thanks.
No problem.
Alright, APU master switch on. Start. Flew the 737 like 3 times yesterday, so I completely forgot to do the fire test. Let's see, cockpit lights, ACU brake pressure, flaps, ground spoilers, pro window heat, auto, APU bleed on once we have this started. X bleed is auto, temps set, our temp selector set, electrical panel check, no amber lights except for the faults right there. Vent panel, check all lights off. They are. Alright, write that one. Like I have a. Alright. Recall button. Door button. That door should be open. I guess we'll have to do that ourselves. Hydraulics. And the engines. Right, go back to APU. APU bleed. Yeah, I was gonna say we're a lot of fuel, but it's like it is almost a 5-hour flight.
Roger.
Oh, yeah. My mind is in the mode of the Boeing right now. My camera shortcuts for that. The Boeing has this panel, and then it has a higher panel where your nav and all that stuff is. Those guys are. Alright, strobe is auto, no smoking, on, emergency lights armed. Camera pressure panel, check no lights. Air conditioning panel, no lights. APU bleed on, X bleed auto, battery 1 and 2 off. And then on. Engine 1 fire test. Engine 2 fire test. Audio switching normal. Maintenance panel, check all lights off. And then check out our radio panel. On. And we're set with that. Akshay, hey, what's up? No. I don't smoke. No. I have enough bad habits, I don't need to smoke too. Also, it would drive me crazy spending money on that. Hey, this is really cool. Actually, like when we got in the plane, the QNH was already set. A lot of my integrated lighting was already set. So that's, I don't know if that's something new with the update, that it kind of automatically does things like that, or just updated it. I don't know if, like, yeah, they added something in like that. What's going on with our self-loading cargo? Waiting permission. How do I feel like self-loading cargo is going to be? Why do I get the feeling?
Hello, Captain.
Why am I drinking on stream?
Hello.
We're ready to start boarding.
No problem.
Oh, okay. So
It
I have
should
to
just
tell
be
them?
a couple more minutes, maybe less. We're expecting the call any minute now.
I'm only drinking water, so it is not. That's another thing I do. I don't drink either because I just don't really like it, and again, it just seems like a pretty expensive thing to do. Pretty expensive thing to do. And I'm like, I don't like to spend money on things. Alright, let's get this let's get the FMS set up. Request from SimBrief. Uniform Charlie Foxtrot Mike. Oscar Kilo Kilo Kilo, and then our alternate right there is Oscar India Bravo Bravo Jazeera 656, cost index 54, cruise flight level 360. Go to this page. that's not really what it is yet.
All stations prepare to start boarding.
Come back to that later. Winds. Headwind to 55 knots. Everyone wants the Insta all the time. I don't know. I guess I missed that. Who has time for that? I mean, it's called Insta, but it's like it takes me forever to do anything now.
We've started boarding now as the passengers are being seated.
Thanks.
Alright, flight plan. Gasta, Somak, Lima 143 to Rope Hill, direct to Skid, Durkee, Bravo 713 to Ninop, Alpha 847 to Nazar, Mike Sierra Delta, Ramil, Golf 663 to Sierra Yankee Zulu. It's a long run on the airway there. And direct to Depti and then into our airport. We'll go right here and put the arrival in, just so it's in. And then we'll adjust it as we get to the airport. I don't know which ILS we're going to get. And like that for now. And we'll get our clearance from around here.
Bishkek ground, Jazeera 656, parking for request clearance to Kuwait with information Yankee. Jazeera 656, cleared to Kuwait, 5-1, departure, runway 08, initial climb, flight level 130, then is filed, squawk, 6546. Cleared to Kuwait, via Gas-1, departure, runway 08, initial climb, flight level 130, then is filed, squawk, 6546, Jazeera 656. Jazeera 656, redback correct, report when ready. Will report when ready, Jazeera 656.
I'm sure there's some add-ons. I haven't seen any that. I know there's some planes where they do have like the cabin passengers and probably, I don't know. I've never seen any that are like great. No, smoking weed is not good while flying. I mean, it's going to be, at least in the U.S., being a pilot is in many ways similar to being a truck driver. In the sense, when I talk about every year I have to go, well, not every year. As a truck driver, I have to go to hold my CDL license every year I have to go, or every other year I have to go get a medical. Now, the CDL medical is kind of, it's not that much. But, whereas for being a pilot, the medical, you got to get a medical every year. There's different classes. It can get pretty strict. Like, I just had some dry skin on my elbows, and I had to do some special stuff for that. So it's a little bit more strict for being a pilot, but it's similar in the sense that no, you can't drink. No, you can't. Well, you can drink, but you have to. There has to be like an 8, whatever the period is. Just like as being a truck driver, we can drink, but it has to be in our off hours, and there has to be enough time between our drinking and before we come on duty. But use of any kind of drugs is, other than that, is pretty much restricted to medication, and we can't even use, like marijuana medicinal use, no. CBD oils and stuff like that you just rub on joints, no. Which would be really nice if you're as a trucker, I mean, but you can't because it's a federal thing and they don't allow it, and you get randomly drug tested. So yeah, you're gonna have to cut that if you want to be a pilot. Yep, and that's the thing. Yeah, I don't know the drug testing, like how random it is for being a pilot, but yeah, I mean, it's an occasional thing. I mean, you might be able to, but I couldn't tell you for sure, but it'd be something you'd want to find out for sure, and then you wouldn't want to play with it because, you know, your livelihood, and especially being a pilot, you're dropping a lot of money to get into that livelihood. Trucking, you're not dropping as much money to get into it, but once you start wrecking that resume and wrecking your record, it's gonna be hard for you to get jobs. And as a truck driver, you're probably not making a ton of money that's sitting in your bank account. Okay. Well, like I said, I wouldn't recommend it if it's gonna wreck your lungs going that far. Okay, why is this not? Oh, you know what I did? I didn't tell this to load because I have GSX payload sync. Let's see. Well, since GSX is not working, we're going to turn that off. We're going to go in here. We're just going to go instant because why not? Yeah, we're almost fueled. I think this is going to... I think that actually matches now. So 58.7. 58.7. Okay. So that page is finished. Field prediction page. Flight plan. Performance. Jump over here to our performance calculator. That away. That away. And performance calculator. Alright, UCFM. Runway. Anti-select the runway. Really annoying me. We got the MEDAR, but we can't select the runway. It's the worst thing about some of these kind of... It really sucks because these are like national airports, and we have people don't take the time, or there's just, it's like, dude, it's an international airport.
Go ahead. Loading has been completed.
Yeah.
We're sending the load sheet up to you now. We'll contact you for pushback once you're closed up and the beacon light is switched on. Roger.
Actually, the reason I need that is usually for the thrust, but we'll just do thrust 0.3 down, which is typically what we get. I feel like we'd have a lot different on this one because we are more full, but I don't know. We'll do flex takeoff. 60 is always a good one.
All right, you can close the doors whenever you're ready.
Okay, I let the crew know and we'll get...
Kind of annoying that I couldn't get that to work.
All stations, please close doors.
Alright, we're looking to get our transition altitude. Just cross-checking it. 4,400 feet, right there. I guess, if you want. It's up to you if you want to have a crush on someone, right? Just don't harass them. No, because they... Kind of what it is, right?
Ground to cockpit. Go ahead.
Alright.
Hi, Captain. Fueling
Air
has been
shield.
completed. Roger.
Initial climb. Flight director's on. We got the QNH. Got our squawk 6546. Alright, weather radar's off. Switching knobs normal. Thrust levers. Engine start switches. Cut off. Start switch or ignition is normal. Flaps down. All that good stuff. ATC mode selector on or auto. Can't tell what it is. It's on auto. Alright. Let's do a quick takeoff briefing. It's not really a takeoff briefing, it's just more a pushback briefing. We're gonna push back, what are we taking off? Taking off 08. It's backwards. I like how they are taking us off 08 even though the winds are going the opposite direction. Or the winds are completely different in Flight Simulator. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But that's the way we're taking off. We're going to push back to the left. Should be good. Then we'll taxi out on Alpha to Alpha 1. There we go.
Bishkek ground, Jazeera 656. Request pushback and startup. Jazeera 656. Pushback and startup approved. Pushback and startup approved. Jazeera 656.
Okay. Try to use that. We'll see what how that goes. Okay, we got the pushback approved. Before start checklist, cockpit preparation completed, gear pins and covers removed, signs on and auto. There it is. Adheres nav, fuel quantity 12,100. Takeoff data set, barrel ref 1027 set. Alright. Beacon light on.
Ground to cockpit. Go ahead.
I actually could have used self-loading cargo pushback.
We're ready to disconnect. Thanks very much.
So many different pushback options, actually. Yeah, stream's running fine right now. Yeah, it's it seems like when I try to stream in the evening now, it doesn't want to work, which I guess makes more sense than it not working right now in my mind, because in the evening more people are on the internet in the neighborhood, I would think. All right, below the line, windows and doors closed, beacon light on, thrust levers idle, parking brake released. All right, so here we go. I think we just go like this. There we go. And we're gonna start engine 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now ask for your attention while we take you through the safety procedures on this aircraft. A safety card is in
You know why nothing's starting up? We don't have the fuel pumps on. There you go. I don't know why that's not part of a checklist. Why did it stop? We want to go left. Yeah, why did another plane spawn in? Yeah, FSI ATC has also been has also been getting a little wonky lately too, where it's just spawning planes in where it shouldn't be. They used to like respect where your plane was, and actually it cost me a whole flight on my virtual airline on Southwest Virtual. My second flight, I was flying Boston to Baltimore, and I'm on final, and this other Southwest plane just zooms right under me, like within 50, and basically runs into me and then disappears because it's an AI plane. But because there's this fatal flaw, I didn't know this, and this seems like really for a $70 aircraft, the pmdg 737, if the TCAS system is set off to a certain point, I don't know, it's got to be at a certain point because I've had the TCAS system go and not have issues, but supposedly if the TCAS system goes off, it basically wrecks your entire plane. Like none of the knobs work, nothing works. You have no control except for your stick, I think, and your rudders. You can't change the or you can change the thrust, but you can't see what's going on with it. Why does this keep stopping? Okay. I guess it doesn't want to push me back any further. Okay. Let's start engine 1. Yeah, we could go to the. If you go to the Discord, you can request a flight. You can even pick the flight we do. I prefer doing real life flights and flights. You know, typically the shorter flights. You know, an hour or two. No, don't try to do a long haul to or from Moldova, like 12 hours, because that I'm probably not going to stream that. Don't have time for that, but yeah, I mean, just put it in there on the Discord as a request. And like I said, we're coming up on the end of this world tour pretty soon, so I'm going to be trying to do more of the requests. Probably definitely be mixing in doing my Southwest Virtual Airlines flights, maybe some Pilot's Life flights. We'll kind of see. I got into doing the Southwest Virtual, and because they have a really cool ACARS system that even has, like, it basically does what Self-Flying Cargo does almost, where it's got like announcements, like Southwest announcements and all that stuff. It's really cool. You know, and so I really want to get into that, and unfortunately my second flight just completely failed because my TCAS system in the PMDG plane went off and it killed the plane, which blows my mind that there's such a big bug in a $70 plane that's been out for at least a year now, right? It's like, fix it, please, because some of us fly with traffic around, and if the TCAS system is going to kill my plane, your plane is garbage. Straight up, I'm sorry. I don't care if it's $70. It's trash, and it's as useless as a captain's sim. It frustrated me to no end because I was on short final. I was literally on my final. Suddenly my plane starts drifting to the left because it killed the ILS system. So I take over with the stick trying to just save the landing and I can't do anything. Like the stick I can do, but I couldn't turn off the auto thrust. I couldn't turn off the autopilot, or maybe it was off. I couldn't tell because none of the buttons worked. It just froze the whole plane. All the panels and all the knobs and everything. You could spool the engines up, you could hear that, you could use the rudder, and you could use the stick. And then even then, I couldn't set a parking brake once I got to a gate, so I couldn't even submit the flight to get rejected, because with the airline, with Southwest Virtual, if you land at higher than 400 feet per minute, and higher than higher than 300 feet per minute, or 350, something like that, and higher than 1.5 Gs, it gets rejected. And there's certain parameters, and of course it was like 700 Gs because I was just trying to save the plane because I couldn't do anything, and it was so frustrating. I just couldn't believe it. And then I go on their Discord and I say, hey, what do I do about this? And they're like, oh, you know, that's a known issue. I'm like, really? That's a known issue?
6, request taxi.
Like, maybe you should fix that.
Jazeera 656. Taxi to holding point runway 08.
What am I doing?
Taxi to holding point runway 08. Jazeera 656.
What am I doing? Do we need anti-ice today? What's the temps? Yeah, we're gonna need anti-ice. We'll turn those on. It's -1. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't keep pushing me back here. Yeah, I'd like to fly from Moldova again. I actually enjoyed when I flew over there. God, that has to be last year now. Probably last year around this time. I really like that area. Alright, after start checklist, anti-ice on, ECAM status checked, pitch trim set, rudder trim 0, after start checklist complete. Where am I at this airport? Okay. Like these taxi lines don't actually make any sense. Ugh. Man, I am. I don't know. Kind of hit a brick wall with the with the streaming on this vacation. I'm kind of just tired now. Kind of tired, and it's just kind of getting back into that normal flow of the streaming scene where everyone's busy again, everyone's working, everyone's sleeping. You know, I don't have the any builds sponsorship, so I don't get to show off the A300 and get like 300 subscribers paid for by any builds. I was watching, you know, one of my buddies that Creepy Kirk. I don't know if we were watching Creepy Kirk's or no, we were watching who was it? Ibanez player. So they both stream on a bunch of us. We all stream on Twitch, and we were on Ibanez player's stream, and Creepy Kirk was just going in on it. I guess it's a big thing. I didn't know this, but it's like, you know, there's a lot of people in the kind of like really any builds, because like any build's marketing scheme is, okay, we're gonna pre-release our products to these streamers, these big streamers, flight sim streamers, and then we're going to go into their stream, which already, I mean, like someone like London Controller, right, on Twitch, he already gets normally 400, 500 viewers for a stream. And, you know, there's constantly hype trains for subs and ridiculous stuff like that. Why I love, it's like it tells me to go to runway 8 holding point. I'm at runway 8 holding point, and this ATC is so broken. It's like, oh, actually, what, did they want me to go like halfway on the runway? I don't know.
118.1.
I don't know.
118.1, just 0656.
I'm like in a brain fog here, how to get stuff going. Alright, before takeoff checklist, flight controls, checked instruments, checked briefing, confirmed, flap setting, config 1+F, V-speed set, ATC set, ECAM memo, takeoff no blue, down to the line. Below the line, cabin crew advised, TCAS, Tara. That's what I was trying to remember. My brain is literally just not remember anything. Packs on, all that good stuff. We got the lights, nose lights. We're ready for departure.
Bishkek Tower, just 0656, runway 08, ready for departure.
Just 0656, line up runway 08.
Line up runway 08, just 0656.
I'm starting to think there's something wrong with my like flight simulator lately, because I'm only getting, like, right now we're at in the middle of almost nowhere, right? There's not a lot going on at this airport, and I'm only getting 30 frames per, I'm getting 30 or less frames per second right now. And it's like there's not really much at this airport. I should be getting better, considering it's not a massive difference between getting, you know, I could be at, like, I was at Boston Airport yesterday, Boston Logan, and I had, you know, tons of planes moving about, and the frame rates were like 15 to 20. But it's like I expect 15 to 20 at a major U.S. airport because there's a lot going on. It's like here I'm getting the same frames. Well, you know, I'm going between 20 and 30. At an airport, nothing at it. Oh, clear. What's going on here?
Runway 08, cleared for takeoff, just 0656.
Positive rate, gear up.
Just 0656, contact Bishkek radar 120.3.
120.3, just 0656. Bishkek radar, just 0656, gas to on departure at 3,500, climbing flight level 130. Just 0656, radar contact, proceed direct Juliet Echo Tango Tango Oscar, then as filed, continue climb flight level 130. Proceed direct Juliet Echo Tango Tango Oscar, continue climb flight level 130, just 0656.
Flaps up. Autopilot on. Ground lights off. Q&H standard. After takeoff checklist, landing gear up, flaps retracted, packs on, Below the line, barrel ref standard set after takeoff checklist complete. Alright. You know, that's the one I didn't download. I don't know why I didn't download it for this, but there's like a sim rate thing that you could just put on this flow wheel. I don't know why I didn't pick that up. Kind of stupid on my part. Where the heck is? There it is. Alright, once we get up to cruise, we're going to go and bump up that sim rate because, as you can see, this is going to be 5 or so, 4.5 hour sort of flight, and just don't have time for that. Especially today. Got take the birthday boy in for his checkup, and then after that we gotta order pizzas and order food for a party. All things I'm terrible at.
Jazeera 656, continue climb flight level 210.
Continue climb flight level
Continue
210, 0656. I always forget how many cameras there are for this this plane.
Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your seatbelts fastened while the seatbelt sign is on. We recommend that you keep your seatbelt fastened whenever you are seated. Toilets are located at each end of the cabin. Remember that smoking is not permitted at any time. This includes e-cigarettes. In just a few moments we'll commence our in-flight service, offering you the chance to purchase from our selection of fresh food available today. All details can be found in your in-flight brochure. You can also purchase a selection of hot beverages together with drinks and snacks from the bar. We accept payment in pounds, euros, most major currencies and debit or credit cards. The correct change would be greatly appreciated, and if we can be of any further assistance, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Bishkek Center,
Thank you.
132.2. 132.2, Jazeera 656. Bishkek Center, Jazeera 656, gas turbine departure at flight level 180, climbing flight level 210.
Jazeera 656, radar contact, continue climb flight level 360.
Continue climb flight level 360, Jazeera 656.
Okay, my keyboard doesn't want to let me write capital letters unless I go on caps lock. Like shift doesn't work. I was trying to put in a password and I hit shift to get a capital letter, you know, and nah. Can't write with shift anymore. Okay. That's cool. Where this computer's dying. Man. Alright, so this is what I joined up yesterday. I joined up on Southwest Virtual Airlines. Now, I've been looking at some virtual airlines, and what I typically find, and this one's not completely different from that, what I typically find is this, you know, you get an airline, and then you basically can just, there's some airlines where it's like, whatever flight you want to fly, just any flight, anywhere in the world, anything you want to fly, just fly. It's like, well, what is it then? It's basically just a different tracking program, I guess, with a airline logo slapped on it or something. There was one I found, which is another Southwest. It's called, I think it's just called Southwest Virtual. It's smaller than this one. And they have, but I can't seem to, well, I think I was able to finally sign up, and we'll see if I get into that one. And I kind of just want to compare and contrast just like the flight planning and dispatch kind of program or system it's used. But with that one, they it basically has a, like, you'll get you'll bid on trips, which is what I was kind of interested in. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool to get real trips, like real kind of built out trips like you would get in the real world at like a Southwest Airlines or whatever it is. Now, I do have Simbit World, A Pilot's Life, where that is something that you get. You bid on, you get a set schedule, and then you have to run the schedule. Except it's not, it needs a little work with A Pilot's Life, because, you know, a typical real life schedule is you have your crew hub, where your crew base, where you're based out of. Whether you live there or not, that's where you're based, right? So that's where you start work. So, you know, if I were to become a pilot and, you know, get with like a Southwest Airlines or, I would, my hope would be to be able to get based at like Chicago Midway, because that's the closest base to where I live.
Shimkent Center, Jazeera 656, inbound tarmac at flight level 220, climbing flight level 360.
The other major carriers, like in the U.S., like Delta, I think Delta, United, I think all the big three, they all have bases at O'Hare. So I'm kind of in a good spot here, like as far as bases. Now, can I get that base is a question. But with A Pilot's Life, you can't really set a crew base. I think you could set like, okay, this is the airport I want to start at, and then it'll build a trip out, but you won't get back. You might not get back to your base airport at the end of the trip, which is kind of unrealistic, because typically a trip will take you out, and then by the end of your trip, no matter what, you're getting back to your base. I suppose some trips you don't end at your base flying. You have to, you know, you get to somewhere else, and then you have a deadhead back home or something, where you're not the pilot, but you're still paid for that flight, I believe. Yeah, you're always paid for deadhead flights, you know, repositioning, you know, crew. And so I was kind of interested, okay, this is a virtual airline where they build out like real trip schedules and all that kind of stuff, and I'm kind of interested to see how it works. Well, that's not this one. This one's a little bit different, but I like this one. This one seems like really kind of, you know, it's got a really nice website, really kind of professional. A lot of active pilots. It's still they take it seriously, but not like so seriously, I guess, which is nice. You can see I got one flight here, 2 hours. I should have 2 flights and be like 3.5 hours, but last one died, or the PMDG plane died on me, and I didn't get credited for that flight. So what's really cool about this, so I think I applied for Delta Virtual, and I'm kind of checking that out, just how, you know, I'm just checking out like finding different, like how different virtual airlines kind of run their flight selection. So now with this airline, you can fly any flight. You don't have to fly out of your base. You could just go, okay, you know what, I'm gonna fly out of Albany, show me what flights are out of Albany. So these are all the Southwest flights out of Albany, the times, the equipment, all that. And you can just book it. Now what I find really cool is you can do something like this though. And this is something that I really like. I don't know how much I'm going to actually use it but here you can do a trip. So departure airport, Chicago Midway, trips, and you can go search. And if you don't put any like leg count, you just leave it default, it'll give you a 3-leg trip. So here it's got, okay, start at Midway, go to Colorado Springs to Dallas, Dallas back to Midway. You can see the times, and the times all match too. It's like a 1-day trip here. You know, start at 9:55, 11:35, have a long layover, 5:55 to 8:45, and then 8:50. That's kind of 10:50. I was gonna say that was a quick turnaround. 10:50 to 1 in the morning, and then be done with your day, right? And you can book these, and it'll say like day 1, and it'll just be those 3. Or what you could do is you could go like, I want a 15-leg trip. And so what it will do is it's going to build out a schedule here. With 15 legs. Now, I found the drawback with this is it's not, and again, I don't think they didn't build this system to be like super like hardcore realistic in every way, is that you can't, in real life you wouldn't be able to fly this schedule because, for example, what I'm going to do is I'm going to book these all, and I'll show you on the schedule page. Just book them all. And this is why I kind of like this, because I'm going to book all 15 of these flights. Then I go to my schedule. Okay, so this is my schedule already. I have a 4-day schedule, but we'll ignore that. But let's go to day 5. And it splits it into days, based on the times of the flights and what day it would be. So here you can see I have 3 flights, Midway to Ontario, California, to Denver, to Salt Lake City. The times, the only problem, you can see the flight times. Now, I think the limit for a crew is, I think 10, maybe 11 hours of flying. It might be 8. I have to go back and look. But there's a flight time limit, and that's not that clearly. I've seen some schedules where it's like you're flying like 12, 13-hour day of flight time. Not to mention your day goes way too long. Like even here, like 9:55, and then going until 12:30 in the morning. But it's kind of cool. Like if you want to do it that way, you know, you don't really care about. Like here again, it's like this is kind of a terrible schedule here. 5:15 to 7:15, and then sit until 7:15. I suppose you get a 10-hour break there, so that technically would be legal. Yeah, but it builds out the schedule, and it builds it out by day. It puts them in. You know, all the flights are in the right order. If you pick a flight, I'm going to delete all these. Also shows you the equipment, the tail. Now you can see every flight you're switching planes though. So it's not the best flight planning program or flight scheduling. So what I did, you can see how mine are almost every day. I'm kind of in the same plane. Tail number there, for the most part. Like here, I got one that I switch. Well, that happens. You'll sometimes switch during a day. But what I did is I just went in here and I said, okay, I'm in Boston. I'm in this plane. Let's say I'm in November 207WN. So I pick that tail number and then I say, give me a leg. Give me the legs of that flight. Okay, no flights. So there's no flights to go there. Well, actually, we'll start. We'll pick a flight first. So let's say I pick this flight. Boston to Nashville. We'll book it. Then I'm going to click on the tail number. And so it's going to go tail number. Then I go... So I kind of build out my own schedule this way. Okay, Nashville. Legs. And it's going to show me basically the next flight. So the next flight, we arrive at 10:15 in Jacksonville. And you can do it this way. Jacksonville. See, it shows that next flight. It's going to take me to Baltimore. We'll do one more from Baltimore. That takes me to, I don't know what PBI is. Look, now, let's say I want to, I'm like, okay, it's 4 o'clock. I've done 4 flights. My flight time is getting close to the crew limit. I'm gonna spend the night in wherever PBI is, okay? So instead of doing the tail number, now I just go, don't give me that tail number. We're gonna switch planes in the morning, probably. And just go, I think if I do tail number here, it's gonna give me that next flight. If I could find PBI. What is PBI? I almost wish they had it in order of that as opposed to the city. Oh man. I also can't see anything with my eyes. PBI. Papa Bravo India, what are you? I'm gonna fly a ton of these flights and then I'll know. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Palm Beach. Okay. Let's see what it gives me. Yeah, see, it's giving me that next flight to Atlanta. I don't want that. I want to stay in West Palm Beach for the night and start a new day. So then I go here and then I can go pick any of these flights to start my day. Like, I'm going to start my day flying to, flying to Baltimore and book that. And you can see what happens here. So there's my day 5 where I scheduled all those flights that same plane. And then here's the next day because I'm in a different plane. I started at 7:20. The last flight was at 6 or at 4. So obviously it's a new day. So it's a kind of cool. Yeah, it's kind of a cool little. You can kind of build a realistic schedule, or you could have it kind of build a realistic schedule on its own. Which, like with Delta Virtual, you just kind of pick your time. You just pick a flight. They don't have the. And I guess you could still build out a realistic flight plan. I don't know if it splits it up by days like this. I'm going to have to look at that. But I think we're going to do like Southwest Virtual Airlines for a while. They'll be my American Virtual Airlines for now. I have to look again and see what they're... I think for most virtual airlines, the way it works is they, if you're on the staff running the airline, like you have a staff position, they don't want you parts of other airlines. I have to look at the SOP. Either they don't want you completely another part of an airline at all, or I think it's at least not on the staff of another airline as well. So you can just focus on staffing one. I know with this, I believe with this airline, I think there's some I don't know what it is, what they said in the SOP, but basically they don't want you to be a member of another Southwest virtual airline. So if so there's no restriction like I can't be part of like a United virtual airline or a Delta virtual airline or Ryanair or whatever it is, because I think I want to do that too. It's like I'm probably going to go do Southwest here, do a lot of Southwest flying, but then also maybe find a virtual airline that does like European operations, like a Ryanair or something. Or I might just fly offline for Europe and not have it tracked, but yeah, it's a cool one. I think it's a pretty decent looking. Alright, we don't want to go somewhere far. That looks a little too fast. And the sim rate too is kind of violent. Alright, so we're climbing, or we're at flight level 360. Kind of getting into some clouds. Some weather. Yeah, so it's kind of a longer flight. And there was a time when I used to do all these flights real time. But I'd rather not be trying to land at lunchtime because we have some things to do today. Busy day today. It's been busy this entire vacation. These holidays are like, oh, I'm not working, which just means I'm working more at home. But I suppose that's better than trying to work and be all busy with everything. Yeah, so this is, Southwest Virtual Airlines. Here's my crew schedule that I'm doing. I mean, it'll probably take me a month to do all these flights. Considering that Boston, well, I went midway to Boston, and then I did do this flight, this Boston to Baltimore, but the pmdg 737, I guess, has a major bug in it that I didn't know about, that if the TCAS system is set off, it freezes all your, like, the plane. It basically freezes, it glitches out. You can't interact with any of the buttons, any of the switches. You can't turn off the autopilot. You can't turn off the auto thrust or anything like that. So I was literally on short final landing, just about to turn off the autopilot, and suddenly the plane starts drifting to the left, like it lost the ILS. And so I quickly grabbed my stick because it was just about that point where I was gonna be manually landing it anyway. I try to turn off the auto thrust. I try to turn off the autopilot. Nothing's working, and so I'm just basically crashing to the ground, which means the flight's not going to be counted because the ACARS system, or their system for Southwest Virtual Airlines, is if you are over 350 feet per minute or over 400 feet per minute landing rate and over 1.5 G's landing rate, the flight doesn't count. Now, if you're over 400, I think, or it might be like 350. Now, if you're over 400, it doesn't count no matter what, I think. Or it might count. There's like a max on the feet per minute. Then I think it's like if you're over 350 or 400 and over 1.5 G's, it doesn't count. If you're over 400 but you're like 1.2 G's, that's fine. Firm landing, right? Sometimes you just have to do that. But then there's like a max limit. Like if you're over 600 feet per minute, it doesn't matter what your G's are. Your G's are going to be bad probably anyway. And it didn't count. So it didn't count. So it sucked. I lost like a 2-hour flight there, an hour and a half, but 2 hours of time, and really frustrated with that. Lost it counting as a flight for the airline. Yeah, and I asked them on the Discord, on the Southwest virtual Discord, like, hey, what do I do if I have something like that happen? Because I know And I'm gonna have to ask someone else because I probably just asked in the general. And everyone was kind of talking about, oh yeah, there's that bug. I'm like, okay, what? That didn't really answer my question because clearly it was a bug. Clearly something broke. The fact that it's a known bug, I mean, I guess is comforting that we know it's not just something going on with my end, but it's something that happens with the and it's a TCAS thing. But also kind of depressing or a little disappointing that a $70 plane from PMDG has such a fatal, I mean, that's a fatal flaw. That's not like I mean, that's a major bug. I mean, it's not like a bug where like a light doesn't work or whatever it is. I mean, it's like, no, I'm flying along and let's say I'm on VATSIM or got virtual, I've got AI traffic or whatever it is, and the TCAS system goes off, which is a part of a simulation, right, is to have that TCAS system and go, hey, traffic, do whatever. And it does that, and my whole plane now freezes and is useless to fly, and my flight is ruined. In a $70 plane, I expect that from a Captain Sim plane. I expect that from a freeware plane, right? Or from a developer, some developer that doesn't have a reputation as being, one of the, big plane developers in the sim world for the last decade or two. But there it is. But anyway, so that was frustrating end of my evening yesterday. I was really enjoying it. Yeah, so this is the operations section. Pretty cool. They have like really nice awards and everything. They actually have a training section. Only virtual airline with FAA approved training software. I don't know what that means, to be honest, but I'm gonna have to check it out at some point. Because I know they do I wonder if these guys are actually like, do they just have pins? I mean, I think that is still the real logo, right? So it's like, do these guys work for, are they actually work for Southwest and then they also do this? I don't know. But, yeah, I wonder what the, I'll have to read that a little bit closer. I know they do like they have a bunch of VATSIM training. You can take the VATSIM courses. 11 total hours. Wow, look at that. Oh wait, these are okay. These are VATSIM. Like VATSIM courses. Crazy. What is the Southwest courses? Initial training, type rating, 4 to 8 weeks. Holy cow. Like I said, I don't know what, a couple days ago. Yeah, it was a couple days ago when me and Sasha flew out of Manchester on VATSIM. We were on doing a VATSIM flight, Manchester to London, very short one. I don't know who came in. One of a new guy came in, and he was just fascinated by it because it had been suggested to him, hey, check out this video. Fascinated by the whole simming thing, but then fascinated by VATSIM even more. And he's like, man, you guys take it kind of serious. I'm like, I take it. I want it to be. I don't want to just fool around. I want to take it somewhat seriously, but there are some people. They really definitely do take it quite seriously, the simming side of things, and there's a whole range when it comes to the flight simulator world. You got the people that just hop in and they don't know how to do anything with the plane. They're just doing cartwheels and stuff with it, and sightseeing, which is fine. I mean, that's the cool thing that especially Microsoft Flight Simulator. If you start your plane on like a runway, the engine's already going. You don't have to worry about all that. But then you get stuff like this. I mean, look at this. 4 to 8 weeks, 23 to 27 total hours. Initial, I mean, in real life, it's 4 to 8 weeks and full time, right? That's how that works. But still, I mean, this is virtual, right? Pilot endorsements for complex airports. I mean, crazy. Instructor upgrade. Alright, okay, I want to read more on this. I mean, okay. So Southwest Virtual Airlines indoctrination, Boeing 737-800, ETOPS basics, procedures. I mean, wow. Just look at it. Let's see if I can. I want to open that. See that syllabus. I mean, it's crazy, but it's, I mean, hey, people have their hobbies, and they will go for it. Yeah, so here you go. Here it is. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I don't think people understand that it's like these. I guess it's like that with everything. I mean, there's all kinds of clubs and stuff out there that are non-profit, or they have bylaws and they have constitutions and they have officers and all that stuff, and it's to build train sets and drive trains around, or it's like this. It's virtual airlines. I mean, it's crazy. But I mean, 9 academic hours. But I get it. I mean, it's I mean, these simulators are getting so you can simulate doing things the right way. And if you're interested in learning how to do things, and for some people, this is the closest they're ever going to get to a real cockpit, right? This is the closest they're ever going to get to flying for a real airline, is a virtual airline. And so we do this with everything. I mean, it's not, I know some people are like, oh man, this is, I mean, it is nerdy, it is geeky, whichever one it is, right? I mean, and I think sometimes we kind of go, oh, well, for me, I go, it's like, well, this is, legit. I mean, why not, right? Because, how many people live Second? I mean, there was literally a game called Second Life where, you simulated, you had a whole world, simulating a whole life in another world, right? In some futuristic or whatever it was. I played for a while. It was Entropia Universe or whatever, Entropia Universe, Planet Calypso, where you actually put real money in. There was a real money conversion rate where you could go buy products with real money. I mean, microtransactions, right? But you could put money into the economy. There was like a real economy in the game, and there were actually people who made money in that game. Like, they made money. They started businesses within the game and made some serious money. I mean, there was a guy he made millions of dollars, I guess, or something, and then he bought some of the most expensive property and then built another business there. And it was and to me, that never made sense to me, right? I was like, I don't get it, but how? But people do. And it's the same thing here with virtual airlines. I mean, I think there's, with any hobby, you can turn it into, especially now with these virtual things, especially with these sims, just the way they are, you can and you get the right planes, you can do operations the proper way and do them. And every airline has a different way of doing operations, certain speeds you're supposed to hit, how much fuel you need to land with. That's another thing with this virtual airline. And I was thinking, oh, I got to check my fuel. Well, I'm not flying right now on the virtual airline. But, well, what's really cool is they have the dispatch program. So you can hit dispatch there or in the A cars. And I'll show you all this when we're actually doing a Southwest Airlines virtual flight. But in the A cars, you can, it's like a real life A cars, right? Where like you'll get all the performance data for takeoff and for landing. You can, when you dispatch, it dispatches a sim brief. It doesn't even take you to sim brief. It just dispatches, puts it all in, and now it's in the ACAR system, and you just and it will feed it into your computer, into your FMS, which is insane. It's really cool. And it automatically puts it in the right, puts it in pounds versus, Southwest uses pounds because it's a U.S. airline versus kilos or whatever. All that little stuff. And it also, I think I lost my train of thought on it. Oh yeah, so it plans the flight because Southwest Airlines, at least the virtual version, I'm guessing they're getting this from the real life airline, has a minimum fuel requirement for landing for their pilots, for their planes. The minimum fuel to land is 4,000 pounds. You need to have 4,000 pounds on landing. Now, obviously, if there's emergency situations, but for the virtual airline, if you have less than 4,000 pounds on landing, your flight won't count. They won't accept the PREP. And so you have to do your fuel planning properly. You have to pay attention to that. You can't be fiddling around. You can't miss the airport because you were stepped away from your computer, and then you missed the airport by 100 miles. Now you're flying back. Well, you burned too much fuel, right? Now, I don't know what happens if you have to divert. I think if you divert, there's actually a diversion button on the A cars, and it'll take you to whatever, go to your diversion airport, you land. It'll then give you the option, do you want to continue from here to finish the flight? Do you want to continue from the diversion airport to the actual scheduled final after getting refueled, whatever fixed, whatever the issue was? So it's pretty cool. But yeah, it gets pretty serious. Well, like I said, like here, it's like you got all the evaluators, instructors. Ooh. Yeah, company flight control, weight and balance, aircraft performance. I mean, this is all, again, if this is the closest you're going to get to being an airline, right? And heck, I'd probably, if I were to do this because, now and then like a few years from now, I actually end up really actually pulling the trigger on going to flight school, and I get, and then I kind of run into, go to a Southwest or I go to an airline, I'm like, oh yeah, I've already kind of gone through this kind of thing, or, just having that familiarity. It was sort of similar when I went into trucking, is that I had a familiarity with some of the aspects of trucking already, and so it wasn't all like brand new, the concept of, navigation. And it's the same thing with when I went over to I went for my discovery flight for a flight school, and I wasn't going in completely blind, and they could tell. They're like, oh, okay, you've kind of looked into this, or I'm like, yeah, I fly, I've been in a flight simulator, so it's like I understand the concepts of reading, some of these charts, and the concept of barometric pressure, and the settings, and some of the radio calls and stuff like that. But yeah, this is wild. Just looking at this, it's like an actual course. ETOPS basics. And some of these, it's like it'd be cool to know these. If you care about making your virtual flying experience more realistic. And again, some people don't care about that. I like it when I'm able to fly my flights more realistically. When we're doing the procedures, when we're doing the checklist, whatever, I'm doing it more realistic, especially when I'm on the stream, because I know people come in who know how to do these things. Now, typically people don't come in and say, oh, you're doing that wrong. Oh, that's not how you do it in real life. Some people do. But that usually in a nice way. They're like, oh yeah, this is how we would do it. And it's kind of cool to learn that and go, oh, okay. That's, I mean, emergency procedures. Wait, I mean, look at this. It's crazy. I'm glad it's not required. I don't think it's required. I'll have to look. Yeah, I mean, look at that. It's a straight up real syllabus. 31 pages. A little intimidating. Whoa. Got it. I want to go back. Let's see. So there's the map. It's got my flight. Reports. Yeah, basically, it's pretty cool too. It's like it's got a report page, so if you don't, you know, like I could basically get rid of using, if I wanted to, if I just exclusively flew on here, I could stop using Volanta, you know, to track my flights. You know, because you got everything here. I mean, it's got a lot of details. Let's see. It's got departure time. It's got your, I mean, it's got all your weights, which is, I mean, it's got the thrust we used. Fuel flow, takeoff flaps, speed, all that. I mean, down, super detailed. Which is really cool. And I believe, and it goes by simulator time, which is really cool too. I thought I had the landing rate somewhere on it. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I didn't land that great in Boston. But part of that was because, and I think I got it, yeah, because I think it's over 350 and over 1.5, and so I was saved because of the G's weren't that bad. Weren't terrible. Not great, but not terrible. Right? And that was because I have too much scenery going on in Boston, too many of these injected planes. You know, I need a computer with like a, you know, I need an i21 processor with a, you know, a GeForce 20, you know, I don't know what we, let's say a 9090 or whatever. And then that'll actually be good. It'll be smooth. Yeah, they even have this whole, I don't know what this is yet on this SVA life. I think I have to fly 5 flights, either 5 or 10 flights before I can get access to that. It'd be interesting to see what that is. But I think they said it's like it mimics like the real life stuff that they have for Southwest Airlines. I'm like, okay. I mean, it'd just be interested to see. I mean, like what it is. But again, that's what these virtual airlines, I think people forget that like on VATSIM, on virtual airlines, a lot of the people, there are a lot of like real life pilots, air traffic controllers who are part of these virtual airlines, or they're part of like VATSIM. You know, some of those guys who are out there and you're on VATSIM and they're controlling air traffic are real air traffic controllers. Not all of them. Frankly, if I don't know if I would want to do VATSIM if my real job was air traffic control. I'd probably still come home and fly if I was a pilot. I'd probably still do some virtual flying too. But like, also it depends on the fidelity. I think that's a big thing too, because I used to play American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator all the time when I was living in China. I mean, it was the only, like for a while it was the only way for me to be able to like drive when I was in China, was to like virtually drive, but also, you know, kind of just be back in America in a way. But then as soon as I became a truck driver, it became less interesting, it became less fun, because it wasn't as realistic. There was so many things. Whereas the difference between, obviously, there is still a step of difference, big step of difference between Microsoft Flight Simulator Virtual Flight and Real Flight, obviously. But it's still real time. You still, I mean, you're in a good fidelity plane, you got the sim set up right, it could still be a very, very good experience and keep you up on your toes and keep you current on things. I mean, it's not officially keeping you current, but, you know, just doing your things. Whereas, like, American Truck Simulator, it's like the world is 1/20th the size of the real world, I think. Time flows weird. You know, and, you know, just the way the driving isn't realistic. I mean, it's a little arcadey by comparison. You know, and again, I've been up in a real plane recently, and it's like my flight instructor asked me, it's like, oh, what do you like to fly in Flight Simulator? I'm like, well, I like to fly the airliners, you know, for obvious reasons, but also I like to fly the airliners because they tend to be, A, I can stick them on autopilot, we do longer flights. I like to go different places too, but I find like flying, I mean, the Airbus is deadly easy with the flight stick, but even the Boeing, because they're more sluggish. I like flying them because they're more sluggish, so your inputs aren't so crazy. Whereas I feel like my inputs with my flight stick and my throttle when I'm flying like a Cessna here in the Flight Simulator, it's too crazy. It's not realistic. There's not enough pushback from the air, right? They feel too, you know, you can just slightly move the stick and your plane just goes whoop wherever it wants to go, right? Whereas in real life, I went up in I think it was an Archer. What a bit, Archer Piper, I think, with a single engine. And, you know, and I was flying, he was asking me this, and I said, I like to fly, you know, when I fly by hand the airliners in Microsoft Flight Simulator, it feels like flying by hand what I'm flying right now. There feels like there's that resistance. You actually have to make those inputs count. You know, and it's the same when I'm flying a real, you know, propeller plane, small plane in real life. It feels the same as me flying an airliner in the sim, like as far as that input, you know. And he even said that it's like, oh yeah, you're not like over putting inputs here, and I'm like, well, yeah, because like I've, you know, got that kind of you know, taking it, you know, that you know, smooth movements that you've got to do. And especially when you fly the small planes here in Microsoft Flight Simulator, if you do those jerky movements, it gets pretty bad. Yeah. Yeah, most virtual airlines, they'll have like a page like this where you have awards for, you know, how long you've been here or what you do, good conduct, pilot of the month, different stuff like that. How many flights, if you take certain training. I think the Delta airline I was looking at has a pretty extensive award section too. A lot of these bigger virtual airlines also have partners. So it looks like Southwest Virtual here is a partner with VATSIM, AnyBuilds, Vertical Sim, and iBlue Yonder. Never heard of iBlue Yonder. I think we have a few discounts. We get a 10% discount with Vertical Sim. And I think AnyBuilds you have to do something. I can't remember. We have to do something, but then you get like a discount off of their products, or certain products, which is kind of cool. You know, it's like a big club, and they do events, which I'm kind of excited about. That would be kind of cool to jump on VATSIM and do events with a bunch of Southwest flights going somewhere. Because when those events happen, typically you'll get controllers will hop on and they'll be like, oh yeah, I know that Southwest Virtual is going to be flying into Havana or flying up. They must, maybe they did, maybe that's what it was. Let me look at this calendar. Tucson. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So the other night, I was watching, I don't know if I was on VATSIM. I don't think I was. And I saw this. I saw just a ton of Southwest planes flying into Bozeman, Montana. I'm like, why are they? Well, there it is. Southwest Ski Shuttle. So they had an event going on, flying into Bozeman. There you go. So it's pretty cool. They have events. You know, what do we got next month? That's the thing. So we might jump in on some of these events. I might stream them. Depends on when they are. Depends on when I have off. Let's see. I'm gonna be working this weekend probably, so I might be able to do this spotlight, which is Boise. That'd be a cool spotlight too. Fly into Boise. I mean, we're gonna fly into Boise anyway at some point in the virtual, but again, yeah, on VATSIM, doing it together with guys. Of course, I can do all these flights on VATSIM. There's nothing saying I can't. You got a John Wayne spotlight. Oakland down to John Wayne. Oh, pretty cool. I mean, yeah, they haven't planned out that far. December, they seem to have quite a few things. I think there's some things like if you participate, you get a, you know, then you get a voucher, you get entered into giveaways, all kinds of cool things like that. But for me, it's like I'm just always looking, like, the thing I'm more looking for from any virtual airline is the flight schedule. Like, how do you schedule flights? And I guess there's part of me, I kind of like this one. This one's actually a good mix. And maybe I wasn't giving the Delta one. I have to look at the Delta one again. Probably you could probably do this with every one. But I really like their timetable program, because you can let them build you out a trip. Okay, here's my base. Here's where I want to start. You can even say where you want to start and then end even. But here's where I start, and if you say you want a trip, it'll probably have you end there, which is exactly what I want. But then if I feel like that's not a realistic trip, too many flights in a day or whatever. It depends on how realistic you want to make it, and on, just be kind of nudgy that way. But I can schedule. I can say, okay, I'm going midway to Boston, and I'm on this plane. I can then search what flight is leaving Boston next on that plane, using their thing, and just book that one and build out a really pretty realistic schedule. So I like it. I'm really digging this airline so far. I think it's the same one. If you watch a lot of flight simming on YouTube, I think it's Captain Shaq Oatmeal. Is that his name? I saw him on the Discord, but he had his actual real name. But I saw his logo. His picture on Discord is his YouTube logo. I'm like, oh hey, I just joined the airline. Hey, cool. Where are you flying today? And I think we both flew out of Midway. But I didn't even think that. I was like, oh yeah, he's part of Southwest Virtual Airlines. On a lot of his streams, he's doing his virtual airline flights. So we're gonna be seeing a lot more of that. You hopping in and out. I'll definitely probably do flights offline. Not every flight's gonna be streamed, but once we get done with this world tour, it's gonna be, doing kind of being a mix. Probably gonna end up being a mix of Southwest flights and your guys' flight requests. Or if there's, I'm looking at VATSIM and there's an event that I can hop onto. All right. Well, it's 8:30. We still got 2.5 hours. lot to see, is there? Not a lot to see. Alright, I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna get my language learning in for the day, or at least one lesson in for the day. There it is, Duolingo. We're doing Chinese. Got a streak of 1,111 days going, so let's get that in. Personalized practice. Oh, I have to turn up a Brave browser.
下午我们去商店买礼物。下午我们去商店买礼物。礼物。下午我们去商店买礼物。去。商店。下午我们去商店买礼物。
Ladies and gentlemen, take full advantage of your tax-free allowances today and make some amazing savings with our boutique range. In your in-flight brochure, you'll find details of our award-winning selection of gifts, most with massive discounts, some of which are exclusive to you as a self-loading cargo customer.
Please, I don't care
Make
about
the
the
most of your opportunity to shop and save from the comfort of your seat. If you'd like to see any products, have any questions, or would like to make great savings, then just ask us as we join you in the cabin shortly.
Okay, I'm going to put my headphones on. Thank you. Thank you. Alright, so 下午我们去商店买礼物. So we are going to the shop to buy gifts this afternoon. In the afternoon. Or however you want to say it. They love talking, so they 很喜欢. So 喜欢 is like, so love, we're going to say very like. 他们很喜欢
说话。
我要穿什么去这个派对？我要穿什么去这个派对？穿。我要穿什么去这个派对？什么？我要穿什么去这个派对？我要穿什么去这个派对？
Who's?
这个派对。
What should I wear to this party? So, Yao is sometimes you want something, but it also could be like, what do you need or should? Well, what should I wear? Or what should I wear to this party? ByTheWay party. There we go. Tomorrow will be cloudy, so tomorrow 明天是阴天
菜单睡觉洗手间
今天
我是
酒店在机场
So, A20N is a hotel, and that's his airport, Jichang. So, hotel is airport.
旁边的旁边
Or the hotel is the airport's next to. Or the airport side.
桌子。
明天。住。狗。
明天可能会下雪。
It may. No, tomorrow.
走路。
鞋。裤子。
歌。
我太喜欢酒的味道了。
I like the taste of alcohol very much.
你会来我们的新年派对吗？你会来我们的新年派对吗？我们的 新年，你会来我们的新年派对吗？派对吗？
So, can you come to our New Year's party? Xinyan. Xin is new and Nian is year, so New Year's party. And this ma makes it like a yes or no question. Alright, so can you, do you?
如果你不能来，就一定要告诉我们。
The Rugo is if you cannot come, so bunang lai cannot come, lai is come. You cannot come. Then you.
就
Yeah. Then you have to tell us. Or you definitely have to tell us. Yeah, definitely.
要告一定
Okay. I guess eating could be definitely. I suppose must, yeah. I'm just gonna finish this section up. Xia.
下
Xia.
秋冬南会秋春天最漂亮。秋夏毛冬
上海的夏天很热。上海
Shanghai right there.
上海的夏天很热。的。上海的夏天很热。夏天很热。
So Shanghai's summers are really hot, which is true. It is hot during the summer in Shanghai. Very hot. Sometimes very humid. But super hot. Like where I lived about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Well, I originally lived about hour and a half, 2 hours southwest of Shanghai, and then later I lived another hour and a half, 2 hours further southwest, so about 4 hours southwest of Shanghai. And yeah, summers were hot. I'd ride my bike, you know, 2 in the afternoon, 1, 2 in the afternoon, and summer would be like 105 degrees. Plus you had all the cars and all their exhaust. It blows my mind that sometimes I would do like 6-hour bike rides. I'd get up early, and even like early morning, you'd get up and go out and be like, you just get hit by this, you know, blast of just hot, humid, you know, and sometimes it was hot and humid air, and it'd be 9 in the morning, and you're like, all right, here we go.
他2个星期后会去日本。
All right, he will go to Urban, which is Japan, in 2 days. No, 2 weeks. Right, 2 weeks.
行。
秋天不冷也不热，秋天不冷也不热，秋天不冷，秋天不冷也不热，也不热。
Is neither cold nor hot in fall.
冬天
It's arriving soon.
Hello.
Hi, Captain. Just
快到
if everything is okay.
Yeah, quite
Everything is
down low.
absolutely fine, yes.
Quickly
Thanks for
arriving.
asking.
Call me if you need anything.
他是1年前去北京的。
All right, where are we here? All right, we are over Turkmenistan at this point. About halfway through the flight. 2 hours to go. Hopefully we can continue shaving that down. finish up. I'll put this over. Alright.
他是1年前去北京的。他是1年前去北京的。前去北京，他是1年前去北京的。的。
Oh, it was 1 year ago that she went to Beijing. I've seen that one before.
他想1年后买新冰箱。
He wants to buy a new refrigerator in a year. Really
这里
here.
下雪，冬天下雪吗？
Well, here, winter, snow. Here, winter, snow. Doesn't snow here in winter. Oh, there's another correct way I could have written that. Okay, I missed it.
我的
Oh, my family, 我的家人
家人和
我 and I 都
都
all like
喜欢
fall
秋天。
秋天 There you go. I don't know. They keep trying to get me to buy Super, but I've had it, but it's like I'm not gonna spend more money.
Everything is fine. Thanks for asking.
Just give me a buzz if you need anything.
Alright, let's get the performance page set up for our arrival. So here we got the QNH is going to be 1018. Temps 20, nice warm. Definitely don't need the anti-ice anymore. 350 at 4 knots for the winds. Transition altitude, it's saying flight level 150. Just double check that on the chart here for the star. There, transition level, flight level 150. Airport elevation is 205. We have, that's automatic here. Take a look while we're here. So come in. Depth T is our transition. We're going to be above 3,000 feet into, it looks like, a pedal, 3,000 feet, descend to 2,500, Yinbi, 2,500 feet, which is the transition into the approach. It looks like ILS Yankee 33 right. We'll put that in for now. Kind of get some ideas of what's going on. 2,000 feet for the high slope capture. Again, localize your final approach course. That's all in the flight computer automatically. Right there, you see 1105, course 332. Got a frequency here for a VOR. I'm not sure where. I think that's our next waypoint, actually. Yep. We are Yankee Zulu. Which we can actually... I'm looking at my flight computer, it doesn't matter. You guys can't see it. I got the, keep zooming in, it doesn't matter. This is Shiraz. Shiraz, okay. Look at that. Yeah, but there's the, you see the ILS information already in the computer right there. Shiraz, which is, I believe, looks like Iran. Iran. finishing up about 10 o'clock hopefully here. That'll be nice. Be nice for my wife's sanity, for my sanity too. I'm kind of looking around on the internet, just looking at boarding passes, trying to decide, like, because I kind of want to put a, because like right now I have the thumbnail for YouTube as kind of like the screen. And I kind of want to have another screen, maybe like, you know, a boarding screen as we're waiting for the stream. You know, possibly have a video of the plane still the game, but if I want to, maybe put a boarding pass. I know a lot of people do that. I'm trying to decide if I want a generic one, just for all flights, or if I want to. I know what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up getting way too detailed. I'm going to have one for like every airline that I fly. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make one, or have one for like Southwest Airlines. And then everything else I'll have like a generic channel one. Kind of cool. Just kind of like have the time we're departing, where we are. That way you can have that information up front. In a more cool kind of graphic, I think. I always like when people have airline tickets, or they're like the boarding pass to show what the flight is. Oof, that was some turbulence. Again, remember, we're going 2 times speed, so it's not it's getting buffeted a lot more. Alright, so up there that's going to be Bushehr. Then we're going to cross the Persian Gulf. And Kuwait will be on the other side. Yeah, that weather, those wind pockets, turbulence really really comes through when you're 2 times speed.
Hello.
Hi, Captain. Just checking to see if everything is okay.
Thanks for asking. Everything is going great.
Great. Call me if you need anything.
Expect that 3 Charlie, arrival, ILS, Yankee, approach, runway 33 guys, report when ready for descent, Jazeera 656.
Alright, we already have that in our computer, so we're getting the Det 3 Charlie arrival, ILS Yankee approach. Actually, let me double check that I have the ILS Yankee. I think I do. Yep. 33 right, ILS Yankee approach, report when ready for descent. Let's kind of see where we're at. The descent markers up there. We are ready if we need to.
Jazeera 656, ready for descent.
Good morning once again from the cockpit. I hope you're enjoying the flight so far. We'll be starting our descent in just a few minutes. The arrival weather forecast is looking good, so it should be a nice easy approach into the airport. We're not expecting any delays, so we should be able to land fairly quickly. Once we do start our descent, please make sure to listen carefully to any instructions from our cabin crew and pay special attention to the seatbelt sign. Thanks for flying with us, and I'll speak to you again soon.
I just put in some fixes here for our approach and everything. Yeah, let's see. I want 332. The path on there. There's a. Oh, they're doing all right. Birthday today for the little captain. 2 years old today. So my wife doesn't know how to relax. She's constantly up and constantly cleaning something or doing something. I'm like, you don't have to always be doing something. Just take a break. Then I always feel like it's like, why, it's like, why am I not doing something? It's like, why are you flying? It's like, because you haven't asked me to do anything. And then when she does ask me to do things, it's usually right when I'm like landing. It's like, okay, I will do that in 15 minutes. And then it's like, oh, you never do anything. It's like, So today my job is, at least as far as I know, is to order food. Get pizzas and whatever else. I made cake yesterday. The frosting job is terrible because the problem is we only have, those like Betty Crocker. We have like the, you can get the cake mix in a box, right? And typically you either want to make it in like 2 8-inch round pans or 2 9-inch round pans or a 13 by 9 baking sheet or whatever it is, right? However you want to make your cake. And the problem is, like, we only have, I guess what I could have done, well, but what we have is we have like those baker ones, like with the little latch on it so that you can quick release it once you're done, which is really nice. And when I used it, I was like, oh, this is nice. Problem is we only have one 9-inch one, and then I think it came in like a set of 3, so there's like a 9-inch one, probably like a 7.5 or 7-inch one, and so what I probably should have done is I should have done a 9-inch, maybe a 7.5 or something, I don't know. But I did a 9-inch one, and then I used we have a pie plate, nice ceramic, heavy duty, pie, not a tin. I mean, it's like a, would it be ceramic? I mean, it's like, like an old school, and so I put the other, and that's basically 9 inches, but it's actually probably like 8.5 or something, because and that one, and the problem is usually when these cakes, when they bake, they rise and they have that kind of like a little bit of a hump, right, on the top, and then I think you're supposed to flip one over, but then you're supposed to flip like the bottom one over so it's flat on flat. When you put them together, you put frosting in the middle. The problem is then you have that rounded bottom, and so it kind of wobbles, I think. But the one that came out on the pie one, I flipped it over and it was almost perfectly flat on the other side too, so it was a nice, good base. The problem is it's slightly smaller than the 9-inch one, and so it's kind of like this, there's like a little hangover, and so it's really hard to get the frosting. And then whenever I do frosting, it seems like it always rips, like my cakes are always too dry or something, like that top layer. So our cakes never look good, or never look, very well professionally done or whatever. If anyone complains about it, they could have made the cake, right? I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, after you're gonna cut into it and it's gonna be gone by tonight anyway. Not like we're displaying it in a display case anywhere. Yep, so we have to take him in to the pediatrician for his checkup. 1:30. That's why I'm trying to get this flight done. I would love. I'm like addicted to. I don't know if you were here, Misha, but I was showing like Southwest Airlines virtual Airlines. joined that one yesterday, and I'm really enjoying it, like their system they have. Unfortunately, I did 2 flights. It recorded the first one, the second one didn't record because my landing rate was like 700 feet per minute. Because what happened is, we always, whenever we go up here, right, we're always turning on this the TCAS to TA/RA. Now, I can't remember what TA and RA mean, but I guess on the PMDG, the 737 that I was flying,
once again from the cockpit.
I think the RA system, it sounds like, because someone else suggested, just use TA and they'll help, then you won't have this glitch. But I guess it's just a major bug that I didn't know existed for it. That if that traffic system, I don't think it's just the TA part, I think it's the RA where it actually, someone's really close and it actually takes over and is going to adjust your plane.
You'll next hear from me after landing, so I will wish you a
the
very
alerts
good
go off.
once again, and I'll speak to you in a short while.
What happens in the PMDG plane is that if that system activates, it freezes, everything glitches out on your panel here. Like everything. All the, so I could be sliding the thrust lever and they won't move, right? Basically it felt like something I ran into a couple of years ago in Microsoft Flight Simulator when every once in a while we'd go outside the plane and we'd come back in and things would be broken, right? Because the game was a little bit more buggy back then. I mean, it's still buggy, but not as bad. I haven't experienced that in a long time. But what happens, like everything, you can't switch anything. The screens won't switch. Nothing changes. I think the screens might still move, but everything was frozen. And so I'm on like at 500 feet on the final approach into Baltimore, and suddenly the plane starts drifting to the left. And I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Because I was just about to disconnect the autopilot, but I was just checking something else. I was coming back to just the autopilot, and suddenly I'm drifting off to the side, and I'm completely away from the runway. I'm like, what just happened? So I take over the stick, I start bringing it back. It's not going to be a good landing anyway. But now, even worse, I'm thinking, okay, maybe I'll go around. We'll see, right? I try to turn off the auto thrust so I can control the thrust, because at this point I'm at like down to 145 knots or whatever it is. Okay, I need to get the flaps, I need to thrust, whatever I'm going to do. Let's get this stuff going. I need to take full manual control. And nothing would work. Nothing would work. I could hear the thrust changing based on what I was doing with my actual throttle, and I could move the plane around with the stick, but all the instruments were basically frozen, all the lights, everything. You couldn't do anything. And that was because the TARA system went off at some point and it glitched out the whole plane, which it's like, really, for a $70 plane, you have that and you haven't fixed it? And so the flight doesn't count because Southwest Virtual, if you land with a landing rate more than 350 feet per minute or more, and G-force more than 1.5, the flight doesn't count. Or if and it automatically doesn't count if the feet per minute is over like 400, I think, or something. So so you could have an over 400, or no, it's like over like 600, I think. But if you're like over 400 landing, but then your G-force is like only 1.1 or something, you're fine. But if you obviously slam into the ground at 700 feet per minute, it doesn't matter. So failed the flight, which sucks. No penalty for it or anything. It's just the flight doesn't count, and it kind of sucks that I don't get that counted towards whatever whatever. Yeah, it's a huge bug. It's like, really? I mean, it's one thing if I don't know, I'm trying to think of a good bug, or not a good bug, but a minor bug, what a minor bug would be, but I mean, heck, even if just like one's like, I don't know, like I'm trying to think. Because I couldn't do anything. I mean, literally, so I limped, I cut across it because I basically ended up landing in the grass. I couldn't, I think I had rudder control, so I still could taxi. I still had throttle control, I still had stick control, but I couldn't retract flaps. I couldn't see what anything on the instruments were. Everything was frozen. And then when I got to the gate, I couldn't park, so I couldn't even submit the flight to be actually, my flight technically wasn't rejected. It was I canceled it because I couldn't even submit the flight because the flight never ended because I couldn't set the parking brakes and shut the engines off. Like literally just couldn't finish the flight. Just it was so frustrating. But I really like it because, as I was saying before earlier, it's like what I was looking for in a virtual airline is an airline that gives you, like, you can bid on trips. I want to have an airline that gives me realistic trips. Now, this one doesn't exactly have that. Like, in the timetable, you can select where you're departing from, typically your base, right? And if you put in trip, and then you can choose how many legs you want on the trip, or just go generic. If you just go blank, it'll give you a 3-flight trip. It'll go, let's say, Midway. I'm at Chicago Midway to Baltimore, Baltimore to Boston, then Boston back to Midway. Perfect, right? Or you could add more legs and have it be a 10-leg or whatever. And then it divides it up by days depending on the schedule, and the schedule's the real schedule. So it's really much more detailed than like a pilot's life in that front. Or you can set up your own. I mean, you can fly whatever flight you want in whatever order you want. You don't have to do anything like that. But I kind of want to do some kind of real ops, right? And so the way I've been doing it is, I'll say I'm leaving Midway, and I pick a flight, and then I go and I pick the tail number. I click on the tail number, and that makes it that it's only going to find flights with that from that plane. And so, okay, I flew from Midway to Boston on, I think it was November 265 WN, Whiskey November. So I clicked on that, and then I said, okay, Boston, show me the flight. Well, it shows you exactly the next flight that's going to happen. And so I do that, and I just basically fly. And then when I get to, like, okay, this is the last flight of the day, I then, for the next day, I just go to that airport and select a flight in the morning on any plane. So it's kind of cool. Actually, here, let me kind of show you what I mean. I'll show you kind of my, I don't know why my son can't open the door. I'll show you what I mean because it's kind of hard when you're just talking about it. But yeah, here's my schedule. And so you can see how, here's that Boston-Baltimore flight. So when I set this flight up, I go to this timetable. So let's say I'm in Boston.
Ladies and gentlemen, we will shortly be landing.
What the heck?
Your cabin bag is safely stowed with your laptop inside. Your tray
Oh my god. Are you kidding me?
blind open.
Are you kidding me, Kuwait?
You need to be seated with
Are you kidding me? And there goes the day. Well, okay, I'm going to talk about this virtual airline now, and again, I give up on. I think I'm done. I might just stop flight simulating for the rest of this vacation. I just need a day off because it's garbage. Yeah, so that's, of course, incredibly frustrating. So now that's 2 flights in a row that have not worked. And I have no idea why Kuwait just did that, because I had no problem. I've loaded in the airport like 3 or 4 times in the last few days, no issues. So I don't know where the issue is there, and that's wasted 3 hours again. Should have just flown a Southwest flight. So that might be what I do tomorrow, because I don't think I'm gonna try this flight again tomorrow and have us have this same thing. We'll probably do we'll see if I can do a Southwest flight, or we'll do something. Drink your drink. Why do you have to do that? Okay, so anyway. So here's big enough? Here, we'll make this a little bigger. Put it behind me, actually, right? Oops. There you go. So here's our the timetables for the virtual airline. And what's cool about this is like, okay, we're in Boston. Let's say I got the, or again, I'll show you exactly how I did this for my my timetable. So you have two options. You can go like this. You can go trips, and if you do search, it spits out a trip here, a real Southwest. I mean, well, like how a trip would end up being like a Southwest Airlines possibly. Now you can see we actually changed planes here, and so it's probably not the most realistic trips or something. But again, you can add as many legs as you want, and it'll spit out a trip, and you'll always end up back at your, you know, home terminal then, which is really cool. I like that. But I started noticing as I looked at it, I was like, well, these aren't really realistic because you're not going to have a schedule that goes from 7 in the morning until 1:15. You're also not going to end your day at 1:15 in the morning and then start the next day at 8:40. Because what happens is actually when you put those in, it will break it up by days depending on the time, right? Here's 10. I started at 10:50. If I end at 16:50 and my next flight's at 6:25, it's going to make that the second day. It's going to make it another day, right? Split it up. But you have your durations, and we have, you know, we have our work limit, right? You can only fly a certain amount of hours in real life in a day, so doing the leg or doing the trip dispatch isn't the best way, but it's, you know, it's one way, and I like that it's there. There is another Southwest airline, virtual airline, that does let you bid on trips, and it's, you know, I haven't checked it out yet. I want to check it out, but I'm actually liking this because it is very flexible. You can do it however you want. So what I do, hey Boozy Sheep, well, as you can see, I was 59 nautical miles away from Kuwait, and the sim crashed 3 hours in. So now I am 0 for 2 on my last 2 flights here. I flew last night, and the PMDG 737 completely froze up. The entire all the panels, the ILS died. Everything on short final going into Baltimore for my Southwest Virtual Airline flight. And I got the plane on the ground at like 700 feet per minute, but that means it doesn't count the flight. The ACAR system for Southwest doesn't count the flight because it's over like 600 feet per minute landing and doesn't count those flights. I also couldn't, it didn't reject the flight because I had to cancel the flight because I couldn't actually end the flight because I couldn't set the parking brake because the cockpit didn't work. Nothing in the cockpit would work. All the screens were frozen. All the knobs were frozen. Everything was frozen. Because I guess PMDG, I didn't know this, has a massive bug that if your TCAS system, the TARA part, I think the RA section of it, the /RA part of it gets set off, it glitches out the entire plane. Because one of the other pilots at SVA, Southwest Virtual Airlines, he said, yeah, I just fly in TA mode to avoid it, and it seems to help. So we'll see. And they would know because, I mean, you're always flying the 737 or 738 there. Can you stop stepping on all that stuff? Stop. Alright, so I'm just kind of looking at how I set schedules up here in Southwest Virtual Airlines, which is kind of cool. I'm sure they have this. There's other airlines that have a nice timetable like this too, but this is the first one I've run into like this. So what I do, because if you do the trip way, I mean, again, you get some decent trips. The problem is, it's like if you really want if you want it really realistic, you know, I mean, this isn't a bad one, but let's say I have let's do 6 flights. You know, you're not going to fly until 12, and you know, you're not going to start at 6:40 in the morning and end a day at 12:15 in the morning. Well, actually, this one isn't too bad because they do have a 15-hour break there. Because you need a 10-hour break. You also have a limit on how much you can fly in a day. But again, that's if you want to get super detailed about it. So what I do is I go like this. I just go, okay, I'm starting midway. And I go, okay, I want to start, let's say, hey, let's just do this first flight of the day. Well, actually, then the equipment. So the 73H is the Yeah, that one actually I can fly. Because that's the 800. The M is the max. So I've been kind of... I don't know why I'm avoiding it. Why? I can fly. I mean, who cares if it's... Yeah, what am I doing there? Anyway, let's book that. So what I'll do is I'll book that flight, so midway to Austin, and then I'll click on the tail number here so that I get the flight for that same plane. And then I go to, where were we? Austin? And I search, and it's gonna, there's only one flight, and it's the next flight. See, it's departing at 8:35. That last flight arrived at like 8 o'clock, 7:50, something like that. And so now I book it. And what's really cool, so there's day 5, midway to Austin, Austin to Tampa, same plane. I'm gonna keep kind of build out a little schedule, kind of show you how this works. So again, I don't know if this is brand, you know, something that's not common. Oops, I need to know what that is. 8639. I need to do something to... Where was that? 8369. So dyslexic. 8639. 8639. Thank you. You don't have to copy that too. Alright, so then there's the next flight. We'll book that. Then what? Baltimore? Search. That gives me the next one. We'll book that, and then we'll say let's end the day. Actually, I don't want. Yeah. What is BDL? Does anyone know? Bradley, isn't it? Actually, let's say I didn't book this one. So then what I would do is, okay, we're gonna spend the night in Baltimore, and then the next morning, I'm not gonna put in the tail number, and I'm now gonna just pick a flight in the morning. Let's say, let's go Baltimore to Miami. So now I'm on a different plane, and so now I just do the same thing with a different plane. If you go to the schedule page, you can see it made out this plan right here. Delete that. You know, day 5, and then because our last flight was ended at 2:50, and the next flight was at 6:15. Well, that's a new day. And it's really cool. It kind of you can build out a nice schedule, and it's totally flexible. You don't have to do it like this. You can just fly whatever flights. You could even see there I could fly Baltimore to BDL, and then I could just next flight I could fly Baltimore again. Maybe I deadheaded or something, right? So it's pretty cool. So I'm enjoying it. Hopefully, can fly it some more. And I'm super frustrated that our stupid flight failed, though. It's always the long ones too. All right, so probably tomorrow. So now my stream ending screen's gonna be wrong, you know. But tomorrow's gonna be, we'll do something. Maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll do my not. I don't know if I want to do this Boston to Baltimore flight again. I kind of want to do something different. Did ya? Okay. See, that was the first time. The issue I've been having with the 738 was, I want to do the screen. No, that's not a good screen. I'll do the screen. I need to get just a chat. I need to build a chat screen. Doing Amsterdam to Gatwick on VATSIM, landed at Gatwick and everything was frozen. But at least you got landed, right? Oh, you had to disconnect, or yeah. So the TCAS system must have, but it fixed itself. Yeah, never fixed on my end. The problem I was having, I had it on the stream a couple days ago. I feel like that was a stream where I think nothing worked on that stream, right? Was that the one? Because you were there, Boozy Sheep. I mean, you came in and then you went to do something else. But that was the one. Where were we? I think we were in. Oh, I can't remember. Let me look at the. Oh, I'm still streaming here. I kind of just want to see what flight that was, just to get an idea. Wherever we were, I think we were, it was the Urumqi one where we were in China. And I'll be able to tell because I'll have 2 streams for the same flight. Yep, it was Urumqi. So that was on the 28th. And we, I push back. And I start taxiing, and I have no, the nose wheel steering didn't work on the PMDG plane. And we couldn't figure it out. We just could not figure out what the problem was. And I figured, so I restarted it, and I figured it might have been because of GSX or something, or self-loading cargo. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use pushback helper to pushback or whatever. Try to avoid some of these third-party programs that have been giving me some issues too. That worked. We got off the ground, had no problems. And then I had no problems in the next flight. We did VATSIM Orlando. We did, Manchester to London. What else? Let's see. Almaty over to Bishkek. Had no problems. I then flew yesterday. I flew Chicago Midway to Boston. I didn't stream that, but in the PMDG 737, no problems. Oh no, actually, that's the flight I had problems on. Then yesterday, I tried to fly out of Midway, and the first time, my first attempt, and I spent 45 minutes getting the plane set up, pushing back. And I start rolling, and I suddenly don't have pedals again, or I don't have nose wheel steering, so I disconnect. Or I restart the sim again, or I restart the flight, reload in, get everything set up again, push back, nose wheel steering still doesn't work now. And I'm just punching myself, like, what the heck is the problem? Now, I don't know if I did this with Urumqi. I'm gonna have to look, maybe I'll look in the back in the stream and see if I did this. But on the checklist for Southwest, on the ACARs, their ACAR system, on the checklist it says make sure you have System B hydraulics on and his System A off. It never says that you have to turn System A on later. So, and again, this is a different procedure than I usually did, because usually I just turn all the hydraulics on before anything. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, what the heck? Why is this not working? I look up and I go, you know what? I'm going to turn on A hydraulics also. I do that, sure enough, now I have the tiller, now I have the rudder steering, nose wheel steering, taxi out. Feel like an idiot because I wasted an hour and a half trying to figure out why I had no nose wheel steering. It's because I didn't turn all the hydraulics on, because I instead was looking at a new procedure. And so I think I figured that one out. And then for the freezing with the TCAS system, another pilot at Southwest Virtual said, Southwest Virtual Airlines said, you just use the TA, don't use TARA, just use TA and you should be able to avoid that problem. Until, again, I'm surprised that that's a problem that exists and that it hasn't been addressed yet. Or if it's something that popped up now, that something broke, like they did something and now it's broken, I don't know. But yeah, 2 flights in a row here that we've failed. This is the first time I've had a... See, he comes in here, he squirts applesauce all over the bed. Or not applesauce, apple juice. Drink your apple juice. Put it in your mouth and drink it. Alright, well, we'll stream tomorrow morning at 7. It'll be the last morning stream of the week. Not sure when I'll have to see when my schedule for work is, but then we'll probably be primarily morning streams. And we'll see if we can get every once in a while a flight or maybe a little VFR action in the evening. Alright, so thanks for coming along on the flight. Sorry it kind of failed. Well, I don't think it bums you guys out as much as it bums me out. Stop. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Till then, happy flying. Take care.